Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome to another channel update. So I haven't done one of these, I guess, in quite a few months, since like May, but I thought I would do a channel update regarding my plans for content for like NHL 24 and other content in general. Also do have a few things to note about like our channel Hall of Fame and all that type of thing, so I thought I'd give you guys a pretty big update on all that stuff in this video. So the first thing I want to bring up is our NHL 24 plans for content. So the first thing obviously is our regular franchise mode. So currently on our straw poll, if we actually go over to, let's not do this yet, I will show you guys that in a little bit, but if we go over to my straw poll here, for the current who is currently winning the franchise mode poll, you can currently see the Winnipeg Jets are likely the team we're going to be doing for our first franchise mode of NHL 24. Now that could still change before here and to the start of NHL 24, but it's likely going to be either them, San Jose. Calgary's still kind of in it, but I'd say it's probably going to be between Winnipeg and San Jose. And probably Winnipeg is probably going to run away with it though, because they're 5 votes up, which is pretty awesome. So thanks to the 48 people that voted on this. And if Winnipeg is our team, I think that's going to be a pretty fun series for us to make, just because of the fact I actually do own a Winnipeg Jets jersey. So I'm kind of thinking of maybe starting to use like a face cam more often in terms of those type of videos, like franchise mode and whatnot, because I think it would make it a little bit more cool, and I could literally wear my Winnipeg Jets jersey every episode if you guys want. But if you don't want face cam, let me know, because I honestly have no idea if Facecam works well with franchise mode or not. I've seen Tugi use it obviously for his streams and whatnot, but I'm not sure if you guys prefer Facecam or non-Facecam in the episode. So kind of want to maybe change up things in terms of how the videos look a little bit. Now, aside from that franchise mode, obviously we're going to be bringing back Draft Glory, because Draft Glory has been probably one of my most fun things I've done over the last few years. Obviously Tugi is the one that kind of started the idea, I think, or maybe he got it from somebody else, but anyways, we had back 2 years ago now, we had our Houston Sharpshooter series. That was a lot of fun. We didn't win any Stanley Cups, but we had a lot of fun players in that series. And then we had our Anchorage series, which obviously you guys literally just absolutely killed watching it. The first episode has over 10,000 views, which is my most viewed video. So obviously a lot of people really like that series, and it was probably like, I'd say it could be my top series of all time in that sense. We drafted a lot of fun players in that series. We won 3 Stanley Cups, which is absolutely insane. So obviously Draft Glories, like I said, are a very big staple now of my channel. And we are going to be bringing back a Draft Glory. I did mention this to the people in the Discord. We are going to be doing a Halifax Raiders Draft Glory. So basically we're going to go from Anchorage, so all the way up north in the west pretty much, all the way down to the east and to more, I guess more south, I would say, in a way, but it's not really south. But yeah, we're going to be going and playing in Halifax, which should be pretty cool, because Halifax obviously hasn't had an NHL team. They've had a couple AHL teams like the Citadels. They obviously have the Mooseheads currently, but I think it's going to be a really fun series for us to run. So that's going to be our first like full series of NHL 24, because we're going to likely start that day 1. As we wait for like a roster update, like the first full roster update, so we could do our Jet series after that. So those are going to be our 2 franchise modes that we run for the beginning of this year. Likely there's a chance that I'm going to try and cut down the series in a sense, like maybe the Jet series or the, not necessarily the Draft Glory, but the Jet series. Maybe that goes only till, like we say, until March instead, because if I have my roster build, which I'm going to get to in a bit, done by then, I would like to do a full throwback franchise mode through all 25 years and not just do like few years like I've done with Tampa Bay. I'd like to do a lot more in depth with that, because my roster build this year is going to be insane. So I'll get to that now. This roster build is going to be probably the most insane roster build you're ever going to see. No offense to guys like Tugi and Tactics and all that. It's just more on the size and scope of this roster build. So obviously you guys know by now that in NHL 24 you could up the creative player limit. So this year obviously you could create up to 2,100 skaters, 400 goaltenders, and like I believe 80 teams, considering you could do 50 beforehand and now you could do another 30. So this roster build is going to contain every single NHL team from these days, every single AHL team, and then you're also going to have a ton of draft prospects, unsigned prospects. And yeah, it's going to be a really, really fun roster build, and I'm very looking forward to starting it. I have another roster document, but I'm not going to show you guys it, but it has over 1,900 players at this stage added to the roster, which is actually crazy. So this roster build being like 3 times bigger than my prior roster builds might take a long time. Normally I'm done by like December, January, so I'm thinking I would still be done around that point. But that's why I really want to do just like a full-on throwback franchise mode with these rosters, because I know that I could put together something that's going to be really, really fun. And this is going to be the best one yet, in a sense, because you're going to actually have AHL teams that are nearly complete with players. Well, they actually are technically complete, but you don't have every single player on that AHL roster, because some of those guys were, I don't know who they had technically contracts to. Like, did they play with for the Ducks or did they play for Detroit? Because they technically shared an AHL team that season. Also, you have like AHL teams that are IHL teams in this too, so it's a bit different than in real life, but it has insane amount of depth. I'll briefly show you guys a few things. So as you can see, this is my giant to-do list. So once the game comes out, I'm going to have to make the jerseys and rosters for every single one of these teams you see here. So all the NHL teams, all the AHL/IHL teams, and then you also have like also the All-Star teams, obviously for the NHL and the AHL this year, because obviously why not add those. So I have the AHL Canadian All-Stars, the AHL Planet USA All-Stars, because I want to give you guys that like watch the AHL back in these days a little bit more nostalgic feeling as well, because obviously with the NHL you have a lot of nostalgia, but if you're fully an AHL kind of person or mostly an AHL person, or you live in an AHL city and you lived there in like 1999, 2000, you might recognize a lot of these type of players too. So it's kind of catered to more players than just the prior roster builds, which were kind of just catered to the NHL in a sense. And then you also have like a list of other tasks I have, like creating free agent players, creating unsigned prospects, draft prospects. It's a ton of work, and I also have to remove obviously all the current NHL players, nerf a lot of current players as well, so that way they don't get used in franchise mode that much. So it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be my most proud roster build to date. Like, I am very, very excited for this. But I'll show you guys briefly. So like here we have like Anaheim's lines at the moment. This is just a lineup screen. But you can see basically I have the list of the unsigned prospects. So they have like Stephen Pete in their system, Trent Hunter, Jordan Leopold. You also have what their minor league affiliate was. And yeah, basically what their NHL roster looks like. You can see their contract breakdown. So I have 15 skaters, 8 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders I made for their NHL team. In their AHL, I have 11 skaters, 7 defensemen, 3 goaltenders. And then we have a total of 3 unsigned players as well for Anaheim, which is actually insane. And I'm going to be trying to do facials and equipment for all these players too. If I can't find images on them, obviously I wouldn't be, but I'm going to try my best to get every single player looking like them, which is going to be a task in its own right. But so you can see that. And then if we go overhead to, say, Cincinnati, which is Anaheim's AHL affiliate, it was also Detroit's technically too, but Detroit's going to get an IHL affiliate instead, because I obviously have to have them sharing different AHL teams. So you can see for Anaheim's AHL team, you got guys like Jeremy Stevenson, who played some time with the Ducks, Bob Wren, Frank Banham, and you have guys that I don't even really know that well, like for example Jay Legault. He was drafted by the Mighty Ducks. Same with Jeff Mitchell, who was drafted I think by Dallas but played some time here in Cincinnati. And then you also have some guys that were unsigned that were a bit too old to be technically still unsigned in franchise mode that will be added to the AHL. So Michael Holmquist, Espen Knutson, Antti Niemi, that type of thing. So there's going to be a lot of good AHL players too. And you should be able to build your team up from your guys in the AHL, your unsigned prospects, and guys you end up drafting to make it a full, authentic experience. I'll show you guys quickly also the free agent pool. You can see is absolutely huge. It's over 100 skaters at the moment. There's probably more I'm going to be adding to this list too by the end of this. But the most notable names, obviously Robert Reichel. Roman Cechmanek is going to start off as a free agent, because obviously there was players drafted in the 2000s that were like, say, 26 years old, 28 years old, 30 years old even. But obviously you can't do that in franchise mode, make guys older than 20 years old. So I have a bunch of these overage guys as free agents, so you could sign, say, Cechmanek instead of drafting him, because obviously you can't draft him in this. So there's a lot of crazy names here. A lot of guys that were playing overseas technically this season, like J-Off Jean, for example, but he will be in the free agent pool just because obviously he played in the NHL a little bit before this. You also have the draft classes, which I'll briefly skim through. This is like 2000s draft class. You can see there's almost up 5 rounds of prospects, which is crazy. So there is going to be a lot of players in every single draft. Some of them were undrafted players, like Sean Avery was undrafted, but he's going to be added to the draft just to give it more depth as well. So there is that. So that's basically my roster stuff. I know that was a lot to take in. But yeah, the roster stuff is going to be very exciting this year, and I'm very excited for you guys to get your hands on that if you're on Xbox Series X or S. So those are my 3 main things for NHL 24. Next, I want to get into some of my other content I have planned, and then we also have more stuff that are kind of related to NHL in a sense. So the next thing is GoPro Hockey will obviously be making a return. GoPro Floor Hockey. As of this recording, I have not played my first game because the first 2 weeks were like canceled due to the gym being in use. But yeah, GoPro Floor Hockey will be starting at least. You guys might already have seen the first episode by the time this goes up. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm going to be continuing to record that, and that's going to still be going out weekly. I am going to be playing on Tuesdays now instead of Wednesdays, so you might see a GoPro episode randomly up on a Wednesday and a Thursday instead of a Thursday and a Friday. So look for those type of videos if you guys like those. Those are probably some of my most fun videos to make, because obviously it's kind of fun capturing like moments in life instead of just video games all the time, in my opinion. The next thing is also my MLB Vancouver series will likely continue for a bit longer. I don't know how long it's going to go for. It's probably going to go until I win the World Series, I'd say, or until we have the main core retire of like Giancarlo Sixto and a few other guys. Garth Howe. Once those guys start retiring, maybe if we don't have a World Series by then, I'll end it by then. But I don't think that series is going to run all the way till MLB The Show 24, just because I know that the series is not going to be as interesting come, like, I don't know, January 1st. So we likely will be doing still another MLB 24 series once that comes out in April or whenever it's supposed to come out. So if you guys are here for MLB content and stuff like that, obviously look forward to that down the road. We'll probably do another Draft to Glory next year, 100% sure, or we could run an actual MLB team, something like that. But I would like to keep the MLB series kind of going because it has been doing pretty well compared to my first MLB series I did a few years back. Also, if you're a member on this YouTube channel, which we only have 2 members at the moment, but if you're a member on this YouTube channel, there's going to be some extra content for you as there normally is. So we are going to be still uploading American Truck Simulator videos on there, which obviously I have a lot of fun with. Obviously, I do that more for Hockey Guy 88 because he's a big American Truck Simulator guy. But we are going to be also bringing in some other car kind of games as well. So I am going to be doing some Forza Motorsport videos likely on the that channel side of things. So if cars interest you, you could watch that. Also, if you guys have any other suggestions for stuff I could do for the membership tab, I could obviously do content on other things. Like I could give you guys maybe a sneak peek on what my roster is looking like at that point. But I do want to try and utilize this membership tab better. I kind of upload once a week at most. Sometimes I forget about upload to the member thing, so it's like once every 2 weeks. But I would like to kind of utilize it in a way where it benefits you guys and you get a lot of extra content. But obviously that will add more time to my uploading and all that. But I'd like to kind of utilize it as much as possible. Also, the Discord is in fully good function. Obviously, you don't have to be a member to join the Discord, so just join that if you want to join and talk NHL 24, MLB stuff with me and the other guys as well, because there's a lot of fun people in there. And it's probably one of my most proud things I'd say of this channel is just kind of building that community, because obviously I was close with the community before, but I didn't really have that place to actually talk with everybody. And literally every single day there's people talking in there, which is really cool to see. And then we get into my final 2 things, which the first thing is the Channel Hall of Fame. So there is a lot of players that could get inducted into this year's Channel Hall of Fame. By the time you guys are seeing this, there will be a straw poll on who should be getting voted into the Hall of Fame for the 2023 season. So there is a couple players from prior series. So there is like Connor Geeky, Calvin Shelley from our Arizona series we had last year. They're in their 2nd year of eligibility. We also have a couple players still from Houston and Morgan Griffin, who honestly probably should make it. Chad Burns and Artem Taratukin. So if you guys want to vote any former players, you can. And then there's our list of players for this year. And this list was pretty easy to put together, but some players being left off of it kind of sucks in a sense. But I think we got some good representation here on who can make the Hall of Fame for 2023 as well. So there is Avery Parrott, of course, because Avery Parrott, one of the best players I've ever drafted, one of the best playoff performers I've ever had too. He was great, and yeah, he's definitely, I'd say, one of those guys that's probably going to get voted in. You also have Derek Heath, who is on the cusp of making it in. You have Miles Claxton, who I put in there just because he was kind of an underrated player. He might not make it, but I think he definitely deserves a chance at least to make it. Also, Matt Jorgensen, the former captain of the Ice Tigers, and Ricardo Hartnell, all from Anchorage, could make it because they all had like over 1,000 points or around 1,000 points. I think of those five guys could all make it into the Hall of Fame. And then finally, from the Chicago Blackhawks, there's not as huge of a list because we didn't win as much Stanley Cups in this series. But Asher Vance, Emil Reefers, who retired already by this point. I don't know if Vance retired or not because I still have to find out as of this recording. Matthias Bernstrom, another one that can make it into the Hall of Fame, probably the best defenseman we had in Chicago in terms of offensive production. And Emmanuel Brossoit is also added there. He was a pretty good pickup from the St. Louis Blues. So those are going to be all your choices to vote into the Hall of Fame. You can pick up to 4 choices, and once we're like in a few weeks probably after this video goes up, we'll induct some more players into our channel Hall of Fame alongside of Jaskalainen, Gene Thornton from Houston, also Matvei Michkov, and of course Tyler Agostino from Arizona. So those 4 players are in right now. 4 more players will join them, and that will be very exciting. And then our final thing that I wanted to bring up is a pretty cool thing, I'd say, nonetheless. Basically, I decided I wanted to kind of, it's more just because I want to take this channel to the next level. I decided that I had like an idea for some merch, and you don't have to buy this obviously, but I came up with a shirt design which is pretty cool. It shows basically a tiger in front of Anchorage, and it says basically the Stanley, or it just says Cup Champs or something like that, and it has the list of what years we won the Stanley Cup in that series. So it's like an Anchorage Ice Tigers exclusive shirt. So there's like a white one. I'm probably trying to get a black one made as well, and like navy kind of colors as well. But I think those will be really cool merch options if you guys want to buy those. There's shirts, there's hats and stuff with that same logo. It's just there in case. Obviously, like I said, you don't have to buy it, but this is just more to try and help make YouTube more livable for me, because at the moment I don't really make that much. I just make basically my ad revenue and my money from my 2 members. So if you guys have any ideas for other merch you guys want to see in the future, or you guys want me to, I don't know, come up with some other options of me able to turn this into a full-time thing in a sense, like maybe starting a Patreon, that type of thing, let me know in the comments, because I honestly could start anything like that, as I want to just try and take this channel to new heights and stuff in 2023-24. So anyways guys, that's going to do it for this channel update. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about all this stuff below. I know it's a lot of things to take in, but this is probably the biggest channel update I've had to make in quite some time, but very excited for the 2023-2024 year of content. Obviously, by the time after this, you guys see this by, like, I guess September 30th, I have been making videos for 7 years, which is crazy. So hopefully year 7 is good for the channel, and we get a lot of growth, and we also have just a lot of fun just putting out more content. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.